Good morning, everyone. Today's date is the 26th of March, 2026. Welcome to Authentic Ingenuity Entrepreneur. My name is Minna Crichton. I'm the narrator of this video clip and every other video clip on my YouTube channel. I thought I'll do another video clip just to update everybody in regards to my court cases. And also, before I do that, I'm just going to go through an introduction just to get you in the mindset of my current set of circumstances. So it is a real life court case. It's been going public for over 10 years. So I'm now continued with the cases, and I for the sake of justice and for everyone watching over me, I thought I'd keep my cases in the moment and keep everyone up to date. It is definitely a public interest case involving trafficking in persons, gross malfunction of the justice system. The case is a criminal case. It's not a civil case, although it is been going through the civil jurisdiction 10 years this year. So I'm dealing with my legal entity, my legal identity, my ideas, my intellectual property, my life, factual incidents of my life here on earth, anything tangible that's property that belongs to me. So that is what I'm actually dealing with my property rights, and basically just dealing with other serious violent offences in my case. It is a very complex case, but it's not complex to me because it's my journey and I'm actually the victim of the journey. It's just me telling my story in my own words and how things happened in the moment. Okay, so obviously we're dealing with after the fact issues. After the trafficking in persons is usually a case where lots of serious incidents has occurred, gross injustice has taken place, or the malfunction of a justice system. But in the first instance, going backwards when it first started, it's not foreign to me what actually happened in the moment at that time. To me, it's just like it would just happened yesterday because of the realistic of what I actually went through. I've suffered the repercussions of it over the years. I suffered mental injury from what I've gone through, and just recovering really from everything. So I'm dealing with after the math and after the fact incidents. But it is an incident, a trafficking in persons case, because it's so personal. These incidents happened to me. They first started when I was working for my employer, the Ministry of Justice. Well, when I first started with the courts, it was Department of Courts. So my case do go back as far back as 2006, when the first privacy breaches or the originals in my life that I had a reasonable belief, I kind of got pulled into it, into what I was going through. And eventually things just went on a downhill spiral. No, I'm not cursed. In fact, I'm actually very much blessed that I'm still alive today telling my story. But I do feel in my heart I'm supposed to be doing this, so I'll continue with what I'm doing. Because it's a very serious what they've done to me. The enemy is glued to the originals. While I was working for my employer, little did I know I was being animated or inanimate. Others has kind of like human sacrificed me secretly, even though I didn't know. It's not till after the fact I realized what was actually happening, and then I had to start denouncing. That was the only way I could oppose the opponent, was expose what they were doing, because people sometimes do things they don't even realize they're breaking the law. but it is, from a criminal point of view, a breach is a very serious violation of human rights, whatever the breach may be, how it is implemented, or how it's actually instigated. A breach is a breach. So in a criminal jurisdiction, these are the kind of things that are quite serious, especially involving a individual or a court case, for the reason because a breach can cause a criminal alliance to attack or personally attack or eliminate witnesses of a case, or it may even affect other people who are actually innocent civilians who are unaware that they're at risk of being targeted. So it's a very serious case of trafficking in persons, and it's internal corruption. It's people internally who are doing the instigation of everything, or is giving instructions to other people to carry out whatever it is, their plans or whatever their intentions are. So that's been my predicament for a very long time. It's actually been quite serious. However, I am okay. I'm recovering. I'm still recovering and going through the aftermath of it all. Fortunately, I have to go back to the reality of what it started from. It is like a love triangle, but it is a conspiracy. It's the use of focusing on the individual's love life, or whoever I am supposedly be having a romantic relationship with. It has affected all that. But it does start going back to Church of Christ New Zealand, and also when I was working for my employer. There are several incidents involving and revealing that relationship scam did take place in the moment while I was working for my employer. So I've had to denounce those females involved as the original instigators or as the competitor. These women are linked to other to their alliances. So basically, I'm dealing with a conspiracy to commit a crime by secret societies using the relationship scam. And that's what I've been used for, and I can actually prove that now. Okay, my personal experience reveals it's been a global, eventually as time, through negligence, people have taken times using me globally for Commonwealth scams and relationship scams. So a criminal pack did accumulated or conspired secretly, growing over the years. Some of the acts have been more of a suicidal pact because of the intimacy, and basically glued to my motives and my intentions and everything that I'm doing. But these people are being groomed by other people, other perpetrators who call themselves hosts or sponsors or agents, but they are using the relationship scam or using other people to carry out their motive and intent. My personal experience is they have exiled me or isolated me deliberately. Someone's been using the public to keep an eye on me. They're just using different people every time. So there is a consistency of complaints historically over the years for the authorities to intervene, but they have ignored it. In this case, it's New Zealand Police and IPCA are the two court cases that are currently pending right now in the Court of Appeal. So we're dealing with a very serious case of gross miscarriage of justice and a malfunction of the government systems. So I've basically allegedly saying that the New Zealand Police and IPCA has perverted the course of justice, going back to 2010 when I laid my complaints. If you want to watch all the my in a moment evidence in regards to all that. You can watch all my other video clips. I've gone over the evidence and my court cases. It's actually a very, 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 very serious case involving the justice system. It is definitely a malfunction of the justice system, and a lot of culpable homicide incidents has taken place in the moment, and I'm able to prove that after the fact. Spiritually speaking, animate or inanimate, to the people who has mastermind this kind of thing upon myself, to them I'm dead. So basically they've over the years they've just stealing my energy, my life, without my permission or my consent. They call it a scientific experiment, but unfortunately there's nothing in law that condones anything that they've done to me. They've used the substitute or subway to animate myself, and I'm the original. And over a long length of period of time, it becomes more and more dangerous for the originals. However, I am okay. I'm a survivor of what I've gone through. So I'm contesting and opposing what I've gone through because it's my legal right to do so, and it is also I'm dealing with my personal property. So spiritually speaking, I'm dealing with after the fact and me just proving incidents to be true to the courts. However, it is a very serious criminal case. Me personally, as a victim of crimes, the system's diverted. Okay, so what they've done is all my good fruits, the stealing or the defaming, they've turned my everything positive in my life into something negative. But the reason why defamation's taken place over time, if you ignore it, these people do intend on eliminating you or erasing your existence on earth. So it's quite a serious case to ignore these kind of activities. If you're unaware of what trafficking in persons is, it is a global game. It's misuse of devices definitely is how they're able to do what they're doing, and then having substitute in your space. They could be like right. You could go out in public and they're right there and right next to you. Somebody is carrying out somebody else's plans and plots. You can actually sense the environment as not being natural, basically. So I'm dealing with natural justice, or that's what I'm up against. Nothing is natural historically to do with my court cases. However, I've continued to oppose what they've done, because I know that that they have no evidence against me. Other secret societies, or to put it bluntly, other races, other cultures, other extremists have tried to put their beliefs on me, or basically trying to control my will or my life how they want it to be. Money's definitely involved, and reputation. So basically, don't take anything I say lightly, okay? Because these are things secret societies are doing. They're just people walking around like zombies, or they call themselves shadow people, and it's a sport. That's what makes it more dangerous, because it's a global sport. But it's actually a conspiracy. But there are things these people are just walking around acting normal, but their motive and intent is they just follow and spy and then just wait to do the twinning and the switching, and that is what they've done to me historically. They've used me for movie ideas. They've stole my intellectual property. And in the moment, when I go to be served by these body corporates, they either won't give you service, or you're discriminated, or they're lying on on the phone. The call centers are definitely used. And I've actually made lots and lots of complaints to the police about what was happening to me in the moment. And then they just talk kindly and do nothing about it. They have no intentions of doing it. There have been times that I've actually just felt when the emails that I've been sending to, because we're basically forced to go online, I'm actually sending all my private information or communicating with the actual people who are actually conspiring to take you down. They talk kindly and nicely, but you don't know what they're going to do secretly. And then they do the switch. And that is what I'm up against even up to now. They're using the call centers, and then they're lying, and they're using younger people or their own people of preference. The whole idea is to switch and lie to the public and create evidence in the moment. So that is what I'm up against. They did this to me going back to 2010, linking to Unison Dance Crew and my work environment. They are doing exactly the same pattern even now because of money-wise. And they're making it like an illegal commonwealth where they think that other members of your family have the rights to have a say in what you do with your life. What they don't. No one has a say or right to do with anyone's life like a slave, unless they've signed over a power of attorney. No one, not even the government, has the right to do what they've done to me to anybody. So that's why I've been opposing what I'm going through. They know the case is very serious because it's gone through over 20 judges in my case. So it's a very embarrassing case for the government. And not only that, I've been denouncing their video clips because they were also inciting. I believe a lot of them are doing what they're doing because they're unaware. They don't even think they're breaking the law. But it's a sport. But because I am their opponent and they're my opponent, their strategy is to do the coding, which is illegal, okay, because it is actually illegal because it's a breach and it is a conspiracy. And then I have been denouncing what they're doing for the sake of those that are watching and following my case. But it is a conspiracy what the opponent has done to me. So basically it's my word against theirs. And but I think everyone's getting the drift of what's actually happening. So basically I'm dealing with organized crime. There are several perpetrators. And I like to use posters as a good way of learning and a good way of getting my message out of where I'm coming from, or trying to interpret the laws or my situation in plain English so other people can understand what I'm going through. But I've been using the graphic design to explain what I'm coming from so even a child can understand what it means. But it is quite serious. So these people can obtain all your private information, and then they can write out a plan, then they scheme it, and then they can even calculate how long things can take. After they've studied your personality and everything just by under the camera, it's so easy to plan and plot. You become quite predictable to them, and there's something for them at the end of it all, obviously, money or whatever it is they're conspiring to steal. And then they just spend their time keeping the originals pinned down. Obviously, they try and ruin them financially. They interfere in all their personal everything and trying to isolate and keep people away from myself. So what I'm saying is that they've interfered in everything that I have done, my relationships and everything. And that's exactly what they've done to me historically. Okay, I've had to put proof on my Facebook and YouTube because it's a real life court case. and it is my evidence. So these are all the judges involving in my case. Everyone becomes a suspect because it is a gross malfunction of the justice system, which is very bad. There's a total of 11 judges here. I took this incident to the I have actually exhausted the system. Okay, so it's a lockout situation because I was opposing and complaining about the injustice and the judgments and everything. And so this year is like a total of 11 judges, but that's not even including the other judges involved in my case in the judiciary review process. So I did take this case to the judiciary review process in 2022, December 2022. So these are applications from there. Then I went through to the criminal process for the Ministry of Health and City Med, but my case is a global game historically, and so they've got a spy everywhere in everything I'm doing. The unfortunate thing for myself and everybody else close to me is that they are also the original, and they are also being used either in my favor or not at all. Okay, for those that are new on board, I'm actually a Christian. That is my faith. Okay, so after a long period of time, I was just trying to understand why would anyone want even to target me? Because as far as I'm concerned, I live a very boring life, but I've had a lot of opposition or personal attacks or threats or whatnot, but unfortunately, the conclusion for myself is that people have actually attacked me because of my faith. Okay, I have found other religions, other cultures have personally attacked me or opposed me because of my spiritual belief. So the warfare is spiritual in the beginning, but it's not really. And why I say that, it is in the beginning, in the first instance when things started going crazy and haywire, and I noticed several things in my space or in my environment that just didn't sit right with me, or wondering why is that happening. But after a long period of time, it's quite clear and evidential that I am actually glued and subject to organized crimes. Okay. So I thought, while I'm doing what I'm doing, I might as well expose and give God the glory, because that is the only reason why I've made it this far. It is definitely because of my spiritual beliefs, my spiritual gifts, and just being in the favor of God and the good people in my life who's watching over me. So it is definitely my personal testimony of what human trafficking in persons is, and it is a very serious charge, as people gradually stealing by using the relationship scam. And as the years have gone by, over the years, I realize more and more what I'm going through is absolutely serious, and a lot of things I just did not understand until after the fact. So I'm learning all the time and understanding why the laws even came about and how it's actually linked to the Bible. But human trafficking in persons has a penalty of 20 years imprisonment because it is internal corruption, because it's felony. So anybody in government who are doing what they're doing or secretly using their jobs for corruption, it's a breach. It's a very serious crime. And 20 years imprisonment is about the highest penalty I can find in the laws. There's rape, there's other culpable, very serious violent offences. My expert is more of a criminal mind, because of my environment that I worked. When I was working for the courts, I did murder cases like what I am going through personally, it's a very serious case. A very, very words can't I can't even express how serious it is. It's over and above serious spiritually in God's eyes, serious spiritually according to the law. So basically, these people are planning and plotting, and they're secretly killing people through what they've done to me, and I can prove that. They poisoned me while I was working for my employer in 2010, and then I had a car accident that hurt my neck. There is no excuse of what happened to me while I was working for my employer. When they perverted the course of justice, I was scared as hell. I thought they were going to kill me, and there are so many incidents I have been close to being murdered, but I've been able to avoid that. But in saying that, it's been very traumatizing because of the intimacy involving. It was quite evidential that somebody, it was like I've been glued to a thorn, especially speaking, it's called a thorn in the flesh, like somebody is pinning me themselves into my emotions and everything, studying my emotions and hurting me and stealing and damaging, at the same time inciting mutiny and public innuendo that is actually lies, which I've had to denounce. And that is how you destroy the enemies or your competitor, whoever the competitor is. But it is after the fact incidents they can be charged with criminal offences. And it is a conspiracy where everyone is lying to you or wanting to control, manipulate situation in their favour. Just keeping an eye on my time. So it is definitely a home invasion case. Okay, it's a Crimes Act case. This cases that are currently pending is against IPCA and also against New Zealand Police. I've had to denounce what they're doing. They do things as if they think it's normal, but it's not normal what they're doing. I expect them to be able. I'm old school. I'm used to the way how the police used to intervene and intervention into crimes, but they don't do that. They put people online or tell us to put our complaints online, but they have never once followed through any investigation at all. Okay, I thought I'd go quickly over the human rights law. So my case is definitely has the elements of genocide, has the element components of crimes against humanity, which is life. So yes, they all can be charged with that after the fact. While I'm still alive, if it goes down the criminal route, I can actually charge them with the body corporates involved. Or somebody else can prosecute them. But anyway, I am personally representing myself. I have actually officially pressed criminal charges against the Ministry of Health and City Med. It did go through the process. Unfortunately, like I said, I am discriminated against. So this is actually the Human Rights Act. So if you don't know what what is discrimination, it's already, this is the Human Rights Act is what protects us as a human being. So meaning for the purpose of this act, it is prohibited grounds of discrimination. So if body corporates are not using their services for the purpose to protect individuals, like what like what New Zealand Police and IPCA did, the fact of the matter is, going back to the crime scene, going back to 2010, it was that they left me in there. They didn't do anything about my complaints. And in fact, they just covered up and carried on abusing me secretly, lying, misguiding me, or just causing me stress. But these are, if you go through the human rights laws, here clearly defines what is what body corporates or any other humans are not allowed to do, which is forbidden grounds of discrimination. So you can't discriminate anyone because of their sex. This includes pregnancy or childbirth, material status, which means being single or married. If you just go through the list, these are all the things that they're not allowed to discriminate anyone about. But I've been discriminated just because people just feel like they think they can, but you can't. But they have broken all the laws that covers a person's human rights and a person's bill of rights. So it is crimes against humanity, and I can easily prove that. So if you go through the, I thought I'd just quickly go over all that. They even got all this sexual orientation, which means heterosexual, homosexual, lesbian, or bisexual orientation. So you can't even discriminate people for that. But I'm being discriminated because of my belief, obviously. Some people don't like my personality, or they see me as the enemy because they've broken laws. Well, tough cookies, because it's my right to prosecute you if you've broken laws. So the starting point of what I've actually gone through is that people dug up my past to use against me. And this is where that is wrong, because to unlawfully dig up people's past to use it against them is a crime in the first instance. Can I prove it? Yes. Okay, so New Zealand Police and both IPCA are both are both now in the higher courts. They opposed that and took the case to the higher courts. I noticed that they have been inciting, they've been inciting me for a long time, and the damage of what they've done to me is going back to 2010. It's so serious that even everything about me has to be undone to make things right again, because they're using the same tactics that they used while I was in 2010 to what I'm going through now. Hence is a reason I've had to oppose and expose my environment. Yes, your family members are definitely used in the conspiracy, but little do they know that the whole conspiracy involves global. So there are other higher up hierarchy people with interest or with a motive and intent to steal, just by using the misuse of devices and having unlawful access, using other humans to carry out their plots and plans, whether to stalk or spy or whatever it is they've been used for. That is what you call a conspiracy to commit a crime. Okay, so I've had to, a lot of people think just because someone stays at home that they've got a mental impairment or have a issue with communicating or going out in public. That is not mental health, okay? Basically, being a lawyer, only a lawyer knows how involvement a court case is. Confidentiality is important. So basically, over the years, I've been a stay-home person. I've always been an introvert, and I've always been a stay-home person. I love my space. I love being at home. I'm very private. So anything that's gotten out or secretly gotten out there is because of the misuse of devices and people spying on me in my home or using me like an app, which is illegal. Okay, you guys can make your government games, whatever you want to call it, but it's illegal. There's nothing in legislation that allows our government or even any prime minister globally to do what they've done to me. Okay, so I'm up against a third party. I've been a lockout case. Others are saying that I've been locked out of the country. Obviously, the evidence clearly shows that. So I've had to bind my documents. I keep my documents go missing every now and then. So there's definitely signs of acts of tourism. So as part of the court protocol, you got to send all the originals to the court. They don't do what they used to do before, where there's original for yourself and original for the judge and original for counsel. Obviously, the only safest way to send stuff without the in the middle people conspiring to open your documents and your mail in between. I know without a shadow of doubt that has occurred many times, where secret societies in the middle are stealing my trade secrets of my court case. I'm not impaired mentally. I'm actually very intellectually intelligent. I know what I'm doing because I did the job, and I've just been blessed. I've been able to use my talents for my own court cases. So other people have been stealing that. Going back to 2010, when breaches first started, and why my court case must be undone properly. And this is where I'm up against, because other secret societies are all involved, or other nations, other cultures, other religions are all involved in what I've gone through historically. It is so serious. They have the people disappear, and some of the things that I have witnessed or I know that is actually happening. It's horrific. It's like being in a horror movie, but it's actually real life things I've witnessed. I've suffered the repercussion of it. But basically, I've been locked out, and the inciting by the government and the ads and everything globally, they only need one person to do the inciting, and their whole intention is to keep the originals down from opposing and getting their court cases opened, and get the honest people investigated. But unfortunately, they have to investigate it. I can undo everything myself because it's my story, my journey. I'm the victim of it. But it has to go back to Unison Dance Crew, and that's there was a lot of money involved in that, and they even stole from my bank account. So there's tax invasion. I've been used for money laundering while I was working for my employer, and then the missing of my friend that I know, I have a reason to believe she got murdered. I mean, these are very serious allegations, but in saying that, when I put in my complaints and use the justice system for myself to deal with the privacy breaches going back to that time, they did nothing about it. Instead, they all continued on participating and using me like a product, or for Commonwealth games to exalt themselves, and I'm animated. So basically, they're stealing my energy, my good fruits, or basically they just don't like me because they just don't like me or like my personality. They have defamed me secretly and making me look like I'm the enemy to the public, which is not true. But defamation has caused or destroyed my life in so much so where they're destroying relationship and exiled and isolation. The public are secretly doing that. They have access to everything. And my court case historically is definitely what I would call a scandalous court because of the unlawful strikes. So it's absolutely appalling. So if I don't come out of my room, it's because these cases take hours and hours and months to put together. But I used to work in jury trials, depositions, and these are the kind of cases I would put together: murder cases, sexual violation cases. And because this is my whole life, yes, it's a complex case, but it's still a very serious case. So I've tried every way to try I like to do everything personally. I like to go over the counter and hand over my documents myself, because in the middle somebody is destroying my exhibits, or even when it goes to court, somebody internally is messing up the case internally. They've been using, just for these two cases over the years, they've used different deputy registrar. They haven't used one case managed person. They haven't given me the respect of treating my case by just using one case officer, but they were linked to the politicians, and that's why I was denouncing. I was horrified. I'll be totally honest, I was totally horrified when I realized what they were doing. And I was thinking, no wonder why I'm going through all this criminal public scrutiny when I go out, because I couldn't understand why people were walking around in my space being threatening and doing zombie zone stuff, and why gangs are doing what they're doing. They are stage stalking. Okay, so if you don't know what stage stalking is, they're using their cars, they're using their own people, they're actually acting out what they're doing. The old system, you'd be able to ring the cops and come and find out why those people are doing what they're doing. They're using their occupation, like the rubbish trucks and stuff, things like that you're suspicious of. And yes, they're using their jobs like a weapon. For example, the trucks, the big trucks, they make threats they're going to cause an accident. I have a reason to believe that they do use that to murder people. So they are using their occupation like a weapon, and their threats are real. And I can sometimes just feel it. I don't even know how to explain it, that something's not right. And when you ring the cops, they don't do anything about it. They hang up. My personal experience, they've hung up. They've deliberately used the Mental Health Act as part of the game to ruin my reputation, so nobody will believe me, which is not true. And that's why I am opposing everything they've done, because that is not true. They misused the act on me, so nobody will believe me, and it may look like I'm mentally impaired when I'm not, obviously. So yes, I was so happy the Court of Appeal have accepted all my documents. So now I'm just going through the process, and I should be hearing back from the judge soon. So I'm just praying to God that he will give me the right judge with the case. And obviously it's because of the compensation money, the relationship scams that I have been denouncing, and because I've been in a relationship with Henry Cavill for a couple of years now, so I've actually been denouncing the public scrutiny, and because he is a celebrity, and the celebrity culture is that they do have other people in the middle, like the PR or whatever they want to call themselves, but they do use lookalikes, and they continue on doing what they're doing because that's their right, with their movie rights or whatever they want to call it. But then I've had other women who are claiming and defaming his character, his personality. He has actually been through exactly what I've been going through, except that he's he's used to that public nonsense where I am not. And I've had to denounce that because of my court cases, because these women are linked to the New Zealand police here in New Zealand. They are linked to the registrar and my court cases. That is a very serious thing, and that is totally unfair. So it is tax invasion. I've sued them for a lot of money, and that is what the opposing the government behind the scene, they are the Crown. They don't want to compensate me, and they've made my life like a product, like the whole public has a right to say what they want to say without my consent. That's invasion, what they're doing. Okay, there's nothing in law that allows the government or even allow our Prime Minister or any Prime Minister in government around the world to violate somebody's court cases and then do what they're doing, coding me and conspiring that way. Okay, so it's very dangerous. I am a vulnerable adult and I'm not playing the victim. I have always been the victim. I've just never been the type to play the victim. But this game involves emotional involvement. They're watching all your activities, listening to all your family activities, and then they're dictating and actually creating evidence whether your family likes it or not, which means it can actually switch and divert a crime scene that's got nothing to do with the originals or your family members, but somebody else is doing that secretly. Okay, which means they can commit the crime, leave the crime scene, and somebody else gets into trouble. So that's why my case is definitely crimes against humanity. So I've sent these had to career post these to the courts. I mean, these things cost me a lot of money. I've spent a lot of money on my cases and my applications. They have been legit. The other thing that I don't agree with, which has been a burden on my heart, is where the courts refused to sign my interlocutory applications. I've wanted the judge to sign my interlocutory applications because the law clearly says that they can, but the courts refused to. And I didn't understand why they're not doing, because it's illegal, especially when I've asked them to sign it. They say, oh, they don't sign interlocutory applications anymore. I can honestly confirm, and because I'm a witness to it, it is because the government is actually setting you up. They've set me up. Because when someone swears or do an oath on an interlocutory application, you're actually making an oath before God or an oath to the courts under the oath legislation that what you are saying is the truth and nothing but the truth. So they don't want the interlocutory applications to be signed because they want to make it look like just a normal piece of paper. But when they refuse to sign it or changing the system in order so other people can have control and manipulate over your court case and your compensation money or whatever it is that every citizen is entitled to if they're suing the government, that is the victim's entitlement, or any tax entitlement is that legally belongs to. That is your personal property, and that is what I'm up against. No one can claim that, not even after the fact. But I have had my identity stolen, and the police didn't investigate, so they're at fault. I mean, I've done everything right. So I thought I'd just explain that. The courts know that my case is gone public. Okay, going back, I am a Christian, and I've been using the Bible also as part of my court case because I feel God is revealing to me what actually the verses actually mean. And I know that without a shadow of doubt, while I was working for the government, I can confirm I was being attacked by other religions and other cultures. They just saw the opportunity to take advantage of someone. But I feel God has actually used me for greater and bigger things, for His purposes, and to actually reveal to myself what actually the words mean, and why Jesus even came on earth 2,000 years ago. So that is my belief in the spiritual realm and my faith, and I believe that the Bible also is linked to the laws and why they even came about, going backwards when they were first created. This New Age system, they've tried to modernize it, okay, and they require the use of a substitute. They're interfering and want to choose and pick who can marry who, but they're actually using the younger generation to get their foot in the door or to take somebody down by cheating, or just taking down a company just by being a spy. Okay, although my case is complex, but in the criminal jurisdiction, it's actually very easy for me to undo because I've done everything personally. And unfortunately for the opposition, I do know my laws. Like, I do know everything in regards to myself and my law and the laws and my cases. I do know they don't have a leg to stand on, not even in the criminal jurisdiction. I can actually prove that my cases remain active going back to 2016 because of the laws that I used back then, meaning all these other laws that they've deleted a lot of laws, okay? But my case brings back all the old laws. It remains active, which meaning a criminal judge can actually go back to the old laws, and even though they've been deleted, they can refer back to the old legislation when my cases first started in 2016, and all these other laws, like they don't actually come, like they're overridden, what I'm saying. So anything in civil, especially if it's a criminal case, everything is criminal overrides everything because of the seriousness, because it's a conspiracy, because it involves other prominent people in government, in public office. So what I'm saying is my case, no matter, even if I do die, another criminal barrister can actually pick up my case, go back to the laws to 2016 and make them active and come back, and they will all apply to my case. But it is tax invasion. They have to find out who stole the money and who's actually at fault. They've deleted a lot of things, but there are always ways around it, finding out who is the mastermind and how did this come about. Okay, so this here is quite insulting, but this is how they've treated me as an individual. It's heinous hate crimes. It's despicable what they're doing. Okay, I can't even explain the words how I feel. I feel so violated, but this is how they've treated me since I lost my privacy. This is the government's scientific experiment on humans that is illegal. But yeah, it is so serious. It needs to be undone so they don't do it to other people. Okay, so I've had to denounce. I'm on my Facebook page right now. I've had to denounce these ads because this is the indirect path of a downhill spiral by a criminal alliance who's got a dirty mind. Okay, these people are not godly. Whoever's behind the perpetrators, their idea is to exalt the flesh and the younger people that they're trying to push on to Henry Cavill. They use words, okay? So, and to them, I'm Uber, or, like, it seems really innocent and normal, but with my personal experience, what I've gone through, whoever's behind what I'm going through, their mindset is to eliminate me. And that is what the evidence will show on my court case historically and everything I'm doing. So I have been denouncing all the other relationships that in the public innuendo. I'm not used to Henry's world of celebrity. However, it's quite clearly that the celebrity life, a lot of people are unruly and think that they can do this to celebrities. But a lot of it's because they've accepted it as normal because they don't know the laws. They're unaware that these people are actually breaking the laws, defaming their character and assassinating their character and stealing their property and doing what they're doing. So I've had to denounce all these. Obviously, this is Smurf off. Obviously, we know they're saying F off because they're pissed off. I've been color coded orange. Orange is people. I don't know who's behind what I'm going through there, but they've color coded people's religion or people's culture. But it is a tactic, and so the letting the public know about in regards to the court case. And so I've had to kind of denounce it because sometimes they use the original's name or they're trying to save each other's jobs. I'm just trying to look for something that I put out this morning. I'm not sure if it's still here. So we are dealing with a criminal negligence case. So I'm just praying that I get a very good judge. I'm hoping to get a strict judge because criminal judges are no-nonsense judges, especially when it comes to people in fiduciary duty breaking the laws. It's quite a dangerous situation for anyone to be in. However, this is my journey and I'm determined to get myself out of this pinned down slavery system, and so I'm doing everything possible to go forward. So I'll continue to update you with my court case, and I've also been doing ACC assessments in regards to my neck. I should be just going through all that at the moment, but the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing also is because nothing about me is secret. I feel so exploited. I feel so, words can't even describe it. It's humiliation. It's a violation of human rights. It's horrific. It's horrific when you know your life is in danger and you can't go forward and you're just pinned down, almost feel like they're just waiting for you to die. But after their investigation and what they've done to me, going back to 2010, they have kept me in a know. Okay, so it is a black market blacklisting system. They have already made a decision that I was not going to get my independence again, and that they want to have full control and manipulation over everything I'm doing. So basically, the courts will find that my case is definitely a perjury has been committed by those in my court cases. Even the Crown has committed perjury and they know it. But this is a serious criminal offence. Going backwards before all these old new laws came on and they got rid of the old laws. Going back then, it was a very serious, like they got here all the death penalty. It's true. That's how serious felony crimes are. And I just feel in my heart, I know I've broken a code, but I know that the seriousness of this new age system must be addressed and must be exposed publicly, or at least give others the opportunity what to look out for and know the difference. So in the criminal perspective, you can actually tell whether a case is a criminal case just from reading the complainant's complaints. Okay, you can tell what is a credible threat. The thing is if I'm lying, then I could get charged for criminal offences for wasting court times and making false statements on my statement of claim. Unfortunately, the opposing allies knows that everything I'm saying is true. Then they want to cover up with their lies. And that's where the unlawful strikes have come on. They've all traded in influence. They've all made bias and prejudice decision based on a group of them making a decision about an individual. So I'm opposing all that. All right, I thought I'd finish with this verse here. Okay. All right. Let's just see. This is in Jeremiah 10:10, where it says, "But the Lord is the true God. He is the living God and the everlasting King. At his wrath the earth will tremble, and the nations will not be able to endure his indignation." Okay, so if you don't know what that actually means, like a lot of people, a lot of other people think just because you're a Christian, they think they got this mentality that a Christian is a doormat. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in human sacrifice, or there needs to be a human sacrifice, because Jesus has already paid the price. As one of his believers, I oppose everything that they've done to me. I'm not a doormat, and I don't accept the disrespect. I don't accept the discrimination. I don't expect the cruelty and being treated really bad and being used for pecuniary advantage to make other people rich. So basically, why I felt in my heart to put these verses is to prove to everyone, just because you're a Christian, it does not mean we have to accept abuse from anybody. I don't believe in that. Like, even in marriages, people gets divorced. I believe in divorce if it's unsafe. I don't believe God will have us stay in a situation that is abusive. However, the victory belongs to him if we can get ourselves out of that situation. This relationship, everything I've gone through, other people have used me like a product or like an app to exalt themselves, but I am the original. This is my personal property and my testimony, but I better finish it there. So basically, when I put verses on, that's what's on my heart to put on my Facebook page for those that are watching. I'm not a preacher. I'm not Jesus. You can just take whatever you want out of what I've got to say to be true or false, but this is my personal testimony, and I've decided to recommend the Bible in the process because that's who I want to give the glory to. My testimony belongs to God, and I know without a shadow of doubt I am supposed to be doing what I'm doing publicly, my court cases, and just waiting. So right now with my court cases, with the IPCA, they've put in a memorandum. They want to oppose the appeal. So I've put in a memorandum in response to that. And obviously, so now it's the file is with the judge at the higher court. So I'm praying that the judge will make the right decision. New Zealand Police is also officially now going through the process of being appealed. So that's what we're up to right now with my case, and I'm going to keep on updating everyone with my case for those who are following myself. Sorry that this video has gone too long, but I'm quite sure a lot of people are actually enjoying it because it's true and it's real life information. What I'm doing is actually quite dangerous, but I'm not afraid of the devil. I was thinking, why should I? I haven't done anything wrong, but I am only human. It does get a bit scary sometimes for me, but I'm just trusting God in the moment with everything. So bear in mind, it is a sport, meaning going back to 2010, the person that I was very close to was Pastor King. I still really, with him, I'll always exalt him as my mentor or as the person whom God used to train me spiritually. Okay, so going back in a criminal case, he was my closest mentor and also my confidant. He was a person that I spoke about everything to do with my work. So all my phone calls to him are all evidence for a conspiracy to prove a matter after the fact. But and at this point in time, 2026, I am very close to Henry Cavill as the original. We are very, 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 very close. So I have discovered that my plans are being, or our plans are being sabotaged because somebody has access to our private conversation. So they're either hacking our phones, or like even the people that he deals with, giving him wrong information. He's blocked out, definitely, and locked out. He's obviously also had someone tried to kill him while he was sick by poison. I've also had the same incidents where I had a reason to believe someone tried to poison me while I was working for my employer. So it's a very serious case. I'm just expressing the elements of serious violent offences by using or interfering with people's personal and private relationship. And also stealing, like other people, other cultures are in the middle conspiring to steal or to stop something from happening. Obviously, they want to eliminate me because they think I'm too old or whatever their discriminating warped mind is. But it's serious, and their motive and intent is to stop something from happening, and that's what's been happening to me. So yeah, it is a very serious criminal case after the fact. If I had it my way, I would be pursuing the criminal jurisdiction and press criminal charges according to the laws. That's what is on my heart, but I'll just leave that with God. So I'll leave it at that. I'm sorry I've gone too long with this clip, but I know I'll keep you guys updated, and I'll finish it with that. Thanks.